Hello and welcome to today's LOL Esports Roundup. We're going to cover a bunch of news that has occurred over the last 10 days or so, and then preview the series in the LEC season finals tomorrow. If you haven't been following my channel the last week or so, or you're new here, I have done a few career videos on several players over the last couple weeks, the last couple days even. Very low view counts. I don't know if they're appearing in feeds or if people aren't interested, but if you are interested in those Hall of Fame videos, those career videos, they're on the channel. There's a playlist, and you can also go to the Discord and participate in the 10th class voting that ends tomorrow. First round of 10th class voting. So as far as news, so like I said, this is news from the last 10 days or so. We start with Vitality. Self-Made has left Vitality, and this is not a surprise. We knew he was being shopped around, and he hasn't played with them for over a year. But by him leaving, he's a free agent. So why other teams may not have picked him up was because of his contract. Nobody wanted his contract. Now it is non-existent. So in his last year, so in 2022, this includes I believe all of spring and then 2 games of LFL in summer. Had a 2.5 KDA, 6.1 CS per minute, 64.5 KP. These numbers are carry oriented for sure. Died a lot though. 369 damage per minute, 349 gold per minute, which was about 18.5% of the team's damage and 19% of the gold. On average, at 15 minutes, he was up 150 gold, 12 CS, and 265 XP. On average, he played 11 champions in 28 games in 2022. So, carry-oriented. Gets fed, gets resources early on, low KP, and then tries to carry the game in the mid to late game. That is Self-Made. When they went to Bow, it was a lateral move, in my perspective, when it came to style of play. Now he's a free agent, and he definitely has a couple of years left in his career. He's only 23. Will be 24 before next year, and I think he's got a couple of years left here. Vitality, of course, definitely has a decision to make between Bow and Douglas. I think Douglas, as a prospect, is one of the better jungle prospects in the world. He and Lucid, I would say, are the two most notable to me. TSM, so this is not a surprise either. So TSM are going to the LPL next year. I think that's all but confirmed. So they're going to cut players because who really from this roster would be playing in the LPL? Let's be real. I will say, though, the Ruby part, 0.0001% chance he could have went because Korean imports in China are a thing. Insanity going was a fat 0%. But we're going to go over the stats. So both of these players are free agents. Ruby, most of these games are his Heretics games. Played only 3 games for TSM after coming over to North America. One of how many players that can say they played in all 4 major regions, by the way, at the highest level. 2.9 KDA, 8.4 CS per minute, 63.5 KP. 662 damage per minute, 389 gold per minute. That was about 29% of his team's damage and 22% of the gold. Ruby, a lot of people gave Ruby shit, and it was because on average he was down 175 gold, 2 CS, 30 XP, only had 6 solo kills, but he played 13 champions, 27 games. Sorry for hitting the mic there with my hand. He was better than people give him credit for. Died a lot, made some bad decisions, and cost his team games. That's no doubt. But dealt a lot of damage. And with low resources. So, in my opinion, outside of the errors, he was pretty decent given the situation. He's giving his farm elsewhere, on Heretics especially. And, they ended up changing out Jack Spectra for Flacked, right? And we saw them get better. And then Vathiel obviously is better than Ruby, but everyone still thinks Evie isn't very good, right? So Ruby felt like kind of a scapegoat. I won't say he was good because he wasn't, but I think he did well for what he was given. Now, Insanity, KDA, I mean, his number's very similar to Ruby's. 3-1 KDA, 8.5 CS per minute, 70% KP, so slightly more involved. Similar DPM at 633. More gold, 406. That was about 29% of the team's gold. 29% of the team's damage, 23% of the gold. So more of the percentage of gold of TSM went to Insanity than you could say Ruby with mostly Heretics. And, but the damage is similar when it comes to percentages. The DPM is similar. On average, Insanity also behind in lane. 145 gold, 6 CS, 375 XP. 2 solo kills in 25 games, played 13 champions. Insanity was very coin flippy. His pop-off games on Kesa, Graves, and things like that kind of shocked the world because they were interesting picks. Not a lot of players playing him, especially the Graves. And he was a menace on the Kesa, that's no doubt. And he had some really, really good games. But some games, he just sucked and people kind of overlooked. Is he LCS level? Probably. But is he like one of the best mids? I wouldn't say so. Fnatic. So Oscarinen is hurt. He had hand surgery. He is out for this game tomorrow. They are locked into Worlds. Keep that in mind. So in doing so, locking themselves into Worlds, I'm pretty sure, right? They're locked into Worlds. Maybe I'm wrong and they're not. If they're not and they're playing Wonder, that's pretty... I probably should have looked it up. Regardless. Refresher. Wonder lost his job to Oscarinen because he wasn't very good in Winter. 1.6 KDA, 7.9 CS per minute, below 44% KP. Talk about weak side on an island by themselves. 2 out of every 5 kills. 402 damage per minute, 356 gold per minute. On average, below 18% of the team's damage, 20.5% of the gold. Down 750 gold, 7 CS, 765 XP. Somehow, not in fights, but not getting XP in lane, not getting gold, not getting farm. No solo kills, 6 champions, 9 games. Oscarinen comes in. These stats include spring, summer, and playoffs. I thought the rookie did well. Some of these numbers aren't as strong as Wonder's, but given where they are in their careers, you could give Oscarinen a little bit of a leash here. 3.9 KDA, very good. 7.6 CS per minute, 60.1 KP. Very different, right? So Wonder, weak side, not as involved. They're fighting around Oscarinen more. They're allowing him to be there for the fight. Now he's giving up a little farm to do so. 437 damage per minute, 379 gold per minute. That's about 18.5% of the damage and 20% of the gold. On average, he was up 220 gold, 6 CS, down 60 XP, 4 solo kills, 11 champions, 28 games. It will be interesting to see how this game goes tomorrow. It would make more sense if Fnatic were locked into Worlds and they told Oscarinen, hey, get your hand surgery now that you need to get, because by the time Worlds comes around, you should be ready to go. It wouldn't shock me if Wonder is their substitute at Worlds, though, given his veteran experience and Oscarinen's lack of experience. Immortals, Balulu. So Immortals have allowed some players to go. Balulu is the next one. He had a 2.9 KDA, 8.2 CS per minute, 74.3 KP with IMT. So not a lot of resources, very involved. 3 out of every 4 kills. Disappointing. But then again, Immortals were not very good. So, it's hard to judge Balulu, but he was a Turkish star. And sometimes minor region stars that stay there for a very long time are there for a very long time for a reason, right? 583 damage per minute, 372 gold per minute. That's about 27.5% of the damage and 22% of the gold. I mean, we look at it compared to Insanity. Insanity was better. So that's a thing too. Balulu on average was down 610 gold, 9 CS, 130 XP, had 3 solo kills and played 9 champions in 18 games. Unfortunate reality with IMT, you know. What are you going to do, right? I mean, this isn't a shock, but he's a free agent. They allow him to leave and not keep him under contract. Today, EG announced that Nicole LaPointe Jameson is out as CEO. She has been there since 2019, I believe in May, and then they returned in 2020 to the LCS. 102-69 over her tenure are Evil Geniuses in North America in the LCS. So good record. Obviously, Andrew Barton's also GM. So, you know what I'm saying. So she's out. I don't know if he ends up taking over. I don't know what EG are doing. Obviously, EG have a lot of issues right now. And having her leave, you could speculate with the issues EG have had over multiple different teams over the last year or so, that scapegoats can happen, resignations can happen, firings can happen, all sorts of things. And we'll probably never actually know the truth of it, because all things have some truth, regardless of either side. There's always like my story, their story, and then the truth falls in between here, depending on where it is, because we all have different lived experiences. But EG definitely have some things to work out. And then lastly, sneak peek for tomorrow. So it's Fnatic and BDS. Fnatic are 7-2, BDS 4-5. They've only played once, so we're not going to do the big breakdown because they only played one game in summer, and they didn't play in groups or playoffs against each other. Noah went 5-0-7, leading the way, 36% of damage. Crowny 2-3-0, 24% of damage in the loss. BDS obviously cannot let that happen again. Crowny needs to be leading them in damage and leading the way for BDS to be successful. Keep in mind, in that game, Oscarinen was playing and not Wonder into Adam, so we will see how that dynamic goes. In the jungle, Razork and Sheo will be interesting. I would like to say I give it to Razork, but Sheo's been a good facilitator. Nuke's played fantastic this split. Humanoid, this is a moment he has to show up. And then the bot lanes are pretty close. I think Noah and Trimby probably have the edge, but as they showed the last time, they have the edge. But I think Crowny and Lebrov have the capabilities of getting some work done. So that's it for the roundup. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter. And I hope to see you again tomorrow.